Hi guys, Sonia here, and it is Rustic Blueprint time. And as you saw this last time when you got your packages, if you haven't picked them up yet, they are ready for you. And if you have and you've gotten them, you have this nice little piece of paper in there. And it actually has, Minnie did a really good job. It's a little picture of a diagram on where your colors need to go and exactly what those colors are. She pulled these up. And so when you go buy your colors at Hobby Lobby, you could just take this piece of paper with you and you're good to go. I will also include this in after the video when we post it, and also with the package or the pile of paints. You also got your wire included in that, and you got your twine, and you got your button. So I went ahead and I started it one step ahead. Before I started this video, I did go ahead and stain the back piece. Right now I'm just gonna put this piece over here. I did stain this already just because to save time, and that way it was cured and it was done for us to go and start this project. So the stain that I like to use, and I will also include this in the photos, this is the Minwax Wood Finish. You go to your local, we get this one at Menards, and I get it in the color coffee, like the coffee you drink, not toffee. If you get the toffee, it's gonna be more orange, so don't do that. This is the coffee, and this is my go-to stain for everything. It's a water-based, easy cleanup. You're gonna need a foam brush to go ahead and apply that. And then also I purchased these gloves at Menards also, and they are great. I just keep using them until I get a hole in them, in which that's what happened today, so then you throw it away. So that is what you're going to do. And when you start staining, I like to do the edges first and the back. So you'll go along, you'll wipe the edges off, you'll flip it over, you'll take your stain on your back, and then you wipe all that off. It is a water base, so it will dry really fast. And then you're gonna go hurry up, and then you're gonna flip it on over, and then you're gonna keep applying. If your phone rings or if a kid is bothering you, do not stop in the middle of it, finish it, because it will dry that fast and you will be really upset. I could have pre-stained them, but if you are wanting yours to look different, and if you don't like the stained look on the back and you want to apply a different color, you're more than welcome to do that. So I left it just plain. You're going to need a different variety of paint brushes. I will show you that here shortly. You're going to need a couple stencil brushes, so grab those. You're going to need your rapid fuse glue, and for right now, I will be honest with you, it's very hard to find. We may have to reach out and do a different glue until they restock this. I don't know what's going on, but I called around town today and not a lot of places have it. So set that off to the side. And your colors that you're gonna need is your avocado for your green. This is the ones I used. And your black for your outer perimeter. Your raw umber. I like this one because it's a little darker, easier to apply. Not easier to apply, same apply, but less times. Your deep orchid for your flowers, for your sunflowers. Your top piece is all sand gray. And then the new orange that I'm really liking is the red spice. So that being said, I'm gonna show you really quick what it looks like when we're done. And it is here. You do not have to pick these colors. They're totally the ones that I chosen. So you just go with whatever is feeling good for you and just go with it. And as you can see, I put the bow here. If you don't want to hear and you want to put up here, you're more than welcome to do that. If you don't want to use the bow, just save it for a project that down the road that maybe you'll want to use it. Okay, well, let's get to crafting, kids. Okay, so as you can see, we have these lines, and I know it will play games with your eyes for a little bit. Trust me, I feel ya, because it was a little googly, and I'm going to show you really easy how easy it is when you're doing this. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to need some smaller paint brushes for this. To get an idea of how you're going along, you can go ahead and pick this up. Remember, this is very brittle, so be careful when you're picking it up so it doesn't break on you. And just lay this on here after you've stained it. Kind of give your eyes an idea of where you need to go. And you're just painting on the inside of each of these, okay? And we're gonna do all the sunflowers first. We're gonna work our way up and work our way down, and we're gonna do the black on the last. So you're just gonna take this and you're gonna go right in there. So what I usually did is I just take a little bit of yellow and I go into each of these. Now you don't have to stay within the lines, because as you saw, that piece of wood is going to fill it up. And this is a little bit more time consuming project. So if you don't plan on just getting it all done at one time, you could do parts and pieces at different times. If you're home with the kids and they are still sleeping when you get up, you can start it, and then you can just stop and get your paintbrushes in some water and start again whenever it is convenient for you. Now, as you can see this, I'm just taking and I'm just going right over the edge, and I would prefer you to go over the edge of those lines than right on them, because when you overlay that piece on there, you want to make sure that you have everything covered. And this is a great way to say you're safe. The other thing is, if you don't want a solid coverage, I would just paint them once and let it look a little rough and more antique-ish. And if you really want to make it look really antique, after you have painted these, go over it again with some stain and get that really, really grubby look. And if you wanted to not have the sand gray on this outer perimeter, do it in a brown, or you could just stain it, and that way you have stain on stain. There's lots of options. It's just depending on what look that you're wanting. This is going to be a little lengthy video, so I'm just going to let you guys know, just because there is a lot of details to it, and I didn't want to do a lot ahead of time, so that way then you guys had an idea for your own time frame as it's going to go moving forward. Okay, I think that one looks great, and remember, you can always come back and add more. Okay, we're gonna go here to this little one. If you guys can see, I'll move this over here for you. I hope you guys are liking your rustic blueprints, and welcome to whoever's new. If this is your first one, this one, like I said, this is a little more detail, and your guys' projects are going to be more detailed pieces because you guys are the Rustic Blueprint VIP group. So these are ones that are not offered in the store. These are just fun ones just for you guys. And doing a coat here and there, this is going to dry really fast. But I would keep your dryer on hand just to be on the safe side in case you need to hurry up and dry something so you can apply your hand in that spot. And like I said, make sure that you're not going perfect. This is just throwing paint on, and this is not being perfect painting, because that nice overlay that Mindy designed for you guys is covering it. And if you really like what you're doing with us, I would love if you guys would share your finished projects and share the link to the Rustic Blueprints and tell them that Sherry sent you or Sandy sent you, and we'll get them a little thank you mailed in the mail with their next box. We would love to see this grow even more now that Sonia and Mindy have been able to focus on a few more items. I'm still at the store. We are closed on Mondays. We are regular hours on Tuesday through Friday, and we are 10 to 6, and on Saturdays we're actually 9 to 4. We're loving the new layout. We're loving working with Kelly. Kelly has got an awesome line. If you guys have not been in the store or you live away and we mail yours, go to 10th and Midwest on Facebook and Instagram and all those social media things and find Kelly. She has an awesome boutique, and I am so excited that we have collaborated together and we are sharing the space. You get double shopping experience when you come in. She's in the front of the store and we are actually in the back of the store. So then that way then you guys can still come in and do your painting projects with us. And then when I'm done with your guys' projects and I'm finalizing those, that's when you guys can go to the front and do a little bit of shopping with Kelly. Okay, as you've been seeing, I've kind of been keep going back over, and I don't know if I'm really going to make this one quite as solid. I want to see the difference in a little bit of texture difference. Really wonder what it would look like if we just did a stain on top. I don't think it would stand out as much. I don't know. Here's me thinking, should we stain it? No, because I don't think it'll stand out as much. Okay, how's that looking, girls? And my next goal is to get this turned into a membership. So then that way, if you guys have liked one of our past craft projects, you're able to go ahead and order those with Mindy and I. And as you can see, I'm just going back over this just one more time. Okay. Sunflowers are about done. I'm not going to put this paintbrush in the water just quite yet, just because we still have some colors that are drying. Okay, so for right now, I'm just going to take this paintbrush and I am just going to set it on a paper towel right over here. And I'm not going to get excited about putting my paint away quite yet. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab some of the avocado. If you like it a little bit darker, I would go plantation pine. That one would be a good one. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go right in here, and this is the inside of your leaves. And you can cover this part up because that is that overlay piece. Remember, this will play puzzle eyes with you. It's going to cover. So as long as you stay within the perimeter of here and not out here, those are all going to be covered. Okay. Like I said, they've got lots of darker greens. If you are a dark green gal, go visit your local. And if you don't want to use Americana paints, that is perfectly fine. This is just my choice. I have craft. Mindy's 32 years old, and I have craft with see, I almost got too close. I've tried other brands, but I love Americano Deco Art Paint the best. It covers very nicely. It is long lasting. It doesn't go bad. It will separate. Any paints will separate after time, especially depending on what time of the year you're getting it. Especially if it's coming on a truck and it's cold out, it's gonna do it. You may get some that have frozen. It's just Mother Nature, and if you just take it back and you have your receipt, they will be happy to exchange that for you. Okay, so I'm just going over each of those once again, and I'm smoothing out any of my paint strokes that maybe I've got a little bit heavy, and I'm thinking it looks really good. And I think I'm going to put this just over here because I'm not gonna need it, and I'm not gonna need any more of this. So I got the stem. Never mind, scratch. Don't forget the stem. And if you want the stem to be brown, you can put the stem brown. I did put mine green just because I did the brown on the sunflowers. And you can dry brush. You can do a little bit of texture. Maybe we'll do a little texture on the stem on this one, and then we'll see. The other thing when you're doing this one, I would cover, and I would go like right here, because the way that is cut, this does have to have a little bit of a nicer finish, and I think that's about right. But I think when we are doing the texture on top with the brown, I think I'm going to do my stem, so that way we can see a little bit of difference. Okay, and just to make sure, I'm going to grab that piece, and we're just going to see how that's looking to give you guys an idea. Don't lay it down on there because this is still wet. How's that? How's that feeling? Is that looking good, guys? Doesn't really take as long as what you think. It looks like it, but it is not. So our yellow is done, our green is done. So we're gonna go ahead, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead, and I think I'm done with the yellow, and our time frame is still good. So go ahead and just take your plate and scrape that paint in there so that way we have no waste. No one wants wasted paint. And when you're doing this project, just put a little bit at a time on your plate, and you will know as the project goes how it's feeling, how it's covering. And then the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna paint our orange. And then go grab whatever paintbrush feels good to you, and then just start covering all of this. And the other orange that I usually use is burnt umber, and I love burnt umber, but I have really fallen in love with reds. I think it's called red spice. Yes, red spice. This is my new fall color that I am just in love with. And then just go ahead and just smooth that paint out. And if you want to, go ahead and just pick this up and turn it. And that way your brush strokes are still just, you're letting that wrist do the work, and you're just applying a little bit of pressure. Who's excited to start their project? Huh? And then you're gonna see, you're gonna go ahead and come over here, right along there. And if you guys want to, if we're gonna do more things like this, if it would help to send a finished photo, we can do that too. Or we will put the finished photo up for you guys, so that way you can just look on your phone, on your computer, and that way you can see that. So when you watching the video and you've done it, you send me a photo. If you want a colored photo enclosed with your next project, let me know. Remember, we have growing pains. We are open to suggestions. If there is something that you would like to see more from us, please let me know. Because as you know, Sonia's little creative brain goes 100 miles an hour. And sometimes it slows down, and sometimes it does not. And sometimes I just do the same thing repetitively, just in a different format. So just let me know. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a dryer really quick, guys. I just wanna see how this is covering. Okay. If you guys have any background noise, Mark's upstairs watching TV. Usually when I'm here, nobody's here. It's just me. But I'm doing this in the evening, just because my schedule is really busy this week, and I want you guys to be able to get on this. And this is just one of those deals. We had a crazy busy week this last week. We're still busy. At the store, it's just me in the store. We have Saturday help, so I can be in the back and working on stuff. So if you come in the store and you don't see anybody on the floor, I'm just in the back. I hear you, and I will be out to greet you. I may be in the middle of staining. I may be in the middle of painting, and especially if I'm staining, you are more than welcome to come to the back and say, "Hey, Sonia, I'm here," and that is perfectly fine. I'm still there to service with a smile or a hug. But Minnie and I are really liking being able to really play around with some different ideas for you guys. And offering some more personalized items, which has been great. Okay, I think my pumpkin is done. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that paintbrush, and I forgot my soapy water. So hopefully I will be able to get up and get those dried really fast. So let's go ahead and dry this. Actually, what we can do is we can just let it air dry because it's done. There's one thing we are gonna do, and we're gonna play around with it, and I'm gonna show you here in a little bit why. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna pick that sand gray up. And the one thing I did forget to offer you guys is a foam brush. The foam brushes work great. And that is one thing I forgot to put in your baggie, but I did remember candy this time. So this foam brush, if you go find some makeup brushes anywhere, this is really what it is, and you're gonna pull that paint. And then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna go around and you're just gonna dab that. And be really careful that you don't get too much on your foam brush because it will goober on the side, and that's one thing you don't want it to do. And if it is your first time using one of these, you will find as you go, the sponge will absorb more paint. So it will be easier to apply, but it will also be easier to absorb more in there. So just be really cautious when you are dabbing. And again, just take your time. There is no rush in doing this one. This is just you and the sponge making a song, tapping away, put some music on, find some new jams, and you're just gonna go along the whole thing, okay? And again, just apply soft, because if you apply heavy, it is going to squeeze that paint out and it's going to go on the sides, and you're not going to be happy because, again, we are just applying this to the top. And if you do get a little bit on the side, I would just take some black paint and a very, very fine paintbrush, and I would apply a little bit of paint over in that spot, okay? How is our time? What are we on? 23 minutes is what my clock says on my phone. I would say this is going to be a 45-minute project. Not joking. And if you have a friend over and you really want to do this, have your friend help do this part and do it together. I think it would be really fun is if you had a group of girls and you all got a Rustic blueprint box, and then you had a girls paint night. And that way you guys all know you got something different that no one else has. I'm kind of that way. It used to be a long time ago. There was a gal that I followed, and she would design wood patterns, and she had a pattern of the month club. Oh my gosh, I literally had it on the calendar, knowing when she was going, that package was going to come to the house, and I would literally run to the mailbox to get my pattern. You never knew what it was. It may be something you didn't like, maybe something you totally fell in love with, but oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And back then in the days, you just got a pattern. You didn't have a DIYer that was giving you a video or anything of the nature of what we have for technology today. It was just paper, a cute little hand note, no candy, just that. And it was okay. It was so much fun. And that was when my girls were smaller. I can tell you, when I started crafting, I had a little shed in the back of our house and had a space heater out there. It was just this tiny little shed. Tiny shed. No heat, no air conditioner. And I had my bandsaw. At that time, you didn't have Pandora. You didn't have Spotify. You just had your local radio. I didn't have a headset. Just turn the music really loud over the vacuum and over the bandsaw and just cut away. And it was a lot of fun. And it has been a true joy to get the bandsaw back out and be cutting again. Have a few more tools. Mark had me using the Boss laser the other day that cuts this out. And that was nerve-wracking, I can tell you that. And he was there the first time, wasn't there the second time, but I just did not want something to go wrong, because if it did, I didn't want to be responsible of something breaking, and then we would be down, because a lot of the hangers that we do anymore, I am not able to cut those on the bandsaw. The perimeter of our cutouts, the neck of that is not wide enough to be able to do this size or do anything like that. So yeah, it was nerve-wracking, just to say. Now, if you wanted to, as you're painting along and you can see that you need a little more coverage in those areas, you're more than welcome to go over it. And if you don't like it to be perfect, then just let those imperfections, just let it do its thing. Depending on how your sponge is looking, you may get some sponge lines, and that's when you can just go back over very carefully. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can just go a little bit, and if you wanted to, you can stain this and then just put a little bit of application of the paint. There's lots of options to be able to do this top piece. I mean, if you wanted to, you could do it black too. If you don't want this cream color, because you're at a perimeter, we're gonna paint that next on your circle. We're gonna paint that black, and then this could be black too. Again, it's totally up to you. I did leave my glue gun plugged in to glue the twine on. I actually used my nailer that you guys have to attach it. So tonight I'm just going to glue it, and then I'll take it to the store in the morning, then I will get my stapler back out. I'll be honest with you, when I packed all my stuff up, I was leaving the store, and Mark and I went to the grocery store to get stuff for dinner, which I'm going to eat when I'm done. I said, I forgot my DIYs. So we went back down the store and picked these up. Because I forgot. Who is forgetful? I think I'm just got so much on my mind that it just forgets. I forget. Okay. I think we're almost done. And if you prefer to do this part first, it doesn't matter. It's whatever works for you guys. I really thought about, doing part of this beforehand, but I really wanted you guys to see how, and I'm sure you guys all fast forwarded through this part, because no one wants to sit and watch Sonia sponge and talk. Seriously. Nada. And if you want to too, you could do this cream And then you can, if you wanted to, you could take your stain and take a little bit of it and add some water to it to dilute it down even more, and then just take a rag and then just apply it very carefully, thinly on here. Good thing you guys can hear my stomach because my stomach is growling. Okay, so that is that. So we are done with this. So I'm going to go and scrape the rest of that up in here. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to dry to make sure it is completely dry. Main thing is these centers, because we're going to take your brown. You're going to get your raw umber, and let's just make a spot right here. And we're going to take our brush and we're going to apply, tap, okay? And this one, you're not going to want to swish and swirl and all that stuff because you're doing your centers of your flowers. And on this one, I don't think I'm going to make this one as solid. I'm going to let this one be a little more airy. And then I'm going to show you the difference, and then you guys can decide if you want yours more solid or more airy. So really for this one, you're just going to pull your paint. You're just going to pull, and then you're going to start dabbing. Okay? And then I'm going to show you what we're going to do on that stem on there. And if you prefer to do your centers of your sunflowers black, you're more than welcome to do that too. I picked the brown and then I accented with the black polka dots. And then you can always go back over them again if you want to just add a little bit more. Okay. So, that being said, I'm going to go and pick this up. I'm going to set it over here. And this is where I'm going to take that brown. And I'm just going to do that over that. Actually, I'm going to do it just a little bit here and there on all of these. And that way, you know, I've always told you we're going to do a little bit of texture on two different styles. So that way you guys can see which way you want it to look. And if you got a new stencil brush, always remember you may get some little frillies that are going to want to come off too. And then I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit and I'm just going to go around. I'm going to take where that's going to show. And I'm going to put a little bit of brown in there, show a little bit of dimension. And if you guys didn't know, we do take the rustic patch on the road. So if you are watching this from afar and you would love to have the rustic patch come to your place or you come to our place, reach out and contact me. If you have an event that you are in charge of at Eunice Center or any of those places, let me know, and I would love to come and set up for you girls and do one of our craft products that we offer. Again, this is just for you guys for the rustic blueprints. This is not for the public. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go a little bit on each of these and just going to give a little bit of brown texture to make it look a little more country, a little rustic. And remember when you're doing this, to keep your brush strokes again within the perimeter of your yellow. If you go out, you're going to be out where it's going to show, and you don't want that. And this stencil brush is new. You can definitely tell because it is really shutting badly. And now maybe that we've done this, maybe we won't paint the outside black. I don't know. I think maybe we still need to. Okay, so before we do anything else, we're going to pick this back up again, and we're going to lay this down. And the trick is when we're going to glue it is to make sure that we have everything in alignment where it needs to go. I still think it needs to be painted black. What do you guys think? I definitely think so. But I'm liking the way everything's looking. Everything's going to be covered. And again, it's just going to be the trick of getting everything covered when we need to. Okay, so we're going to go and set that back off to the side. And we're going to grab another paintbrush. And it doesn't have to be very big. And we're going to put a little bit of black on our plate. And we're almost done. Okay. So this is when you are again going to just take this paint, let's do this over here, and you're just going to go around that perimeter. And we're not painting the sides, we're just painting the top. So go right along there. Just take that paintbrush, nice smooth strokes, keep your plate close by, not overhead, because you want to make sure that we are not going to get any paint on here because it is black, so it's not as forgiving as other paint colors. Okay, so I like to keep my paint plate close. And really just one nice smooth coat is all we're going to need because we already have this stained underneath. Okay. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to dry. We're going to dry this. And then we're going to get that glue out and we're going to start gluing. And when we start with the glue, you guys are going to have to work fast so your glue doesn't dry on you, okay? And you're going to have just a hair fraction of a time to do any shifting to make sure you get it covered well. And you don't want to use wood glue. If you can't get rapid fuse, I would go to like the Gorilla Glue. Wood glue is not going to be, it's not going to dry fast enough and it's going to slide on you. Now if you need to, I would definitely go back and look to see where we did paint, just in case if our paintbrush did not get enough paint in it, it's going to show a little bit of thinness to it. So you definitely want to just eye it very well on your black to make sure we got everything covered the way it needs to go before we apply our top layer of wood. And you can just keep going smoothly around and around. We're almost there. I'm really liking the brown texture that we added this time versus the first time. Again, if you want to do the brown, you could do some stain. Again, it's totally up to you guys. Okay. And if you have, and you may have not gotten it smooth enough, and you just need to go back over and smooth that paint out that's laying there. And that way you have a flat surface of when that paint dries to be able to lay your top piece onto glue. Okay, that is done. So let's go ahead and glue. After we dry, and I like to just take that dryer and I just go like to go right along the edge, and be careful if you have this. This is a potty pad. We had one of our customers come in and pick up her kit, and she was asking me what I have underneath of mine. You see where you'll melt. So be really careful. I'm gonna throw it away anyway, so I'm good to go. The other piece that's underneath it here is you go to your material section at Hobby Lobby, and it is, if there's going to be a time where we're going to cut material, and that is exactly what this is. Okay, kiddos, it is time. And I'm just going to go ahead and move this so then that way it's just out of the way. Okay, you guys ready? It's time. It's time. It's time. Okay. So let's just do this. No, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna set this off to the side because I really don't want to get any glue on there. Every once in a while, glue will drip off to the side when you're, especially if you've got small narrow spots like this, and I don't want your wood to go on there. So you're gonna go in, you're gonna go around the perimeter. If you guys can see on this, you're gonna take your glue and you're gonna very, very carefully squeeze, okay? As long as you have a nice circle around there, and then I would go around here, and then I'm just gonna go dot on the edge of each of these, okay? And you don't have to get every piece, but if there's a little tip here and there, I would for sure get something there. And if you want to just add some dots, remember this will dry fast, and you want to start laying it, and we'll show you. And I'm going to go ahead and just go along the perimeter here again. I'm definitely going to do this bigger leaf, maybe around here, since this is the center of it. And you can just keep going. Again, just don't take too much time, but you want to make sure you've got glue on every piece before you're going to apply that, okay? Okay. Did I do this one? I did not. Cannot believe I forgot my Dawn Just Soap glue. Dawn Just Soap water. Tell Sonny needs food. Okay, I already did that one. Okay. Okay, kids, it's time. It's time, it's time, it's time. Okay, pick it up. Lay this one down. And when you're gonna start gluing, make sure that your lines are right here. This will help you line everything up. And then very carefully pick this up, turn it around. And what I usually tell the girls is if I'm gluing anything in the back and they're asking me how I glue, I usually try to line it up as best as I can before I lay it down, because it will leave a color if you don't get it right on, okay? I think it actually looks pretty good. And like I said, you're gonna have just a hair fraction to be able to move that. So next thing you're gonna do is, as it's gluing, I want you to apply a little bit of pressure, and I want you, because like right down here, I needed to pull that up a little bit. Here, I need to pull that up a little bit. You apply pressure and it's gonna dry, okay? And if you're not like smack dab on, you're okay, because it's still stained on there. Okay, how's that feeling? Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna want to take your wire, and I know I need to grab a pair of needle nose pliers and leave them here because I don't have needle nose pliers here either. I just sold a bunch on our store reduction sale. I think I have 3 pairs. So I just need to bring a pair from the store and leave them here. I think I probably brought a pair. I just packed them back up and just took them back to the store, because I've done that. Okay, so before I'm gonna put polka dots on, I'm gonna go ahead and weave our wire through our holes. And just to let you guys know that we just put that black through there, when you put your wire on, you may have some black paint that's gonna pop up with that. So just saying, just have a paper towel handy in case it is, because that is the last thing we did just paint, and it may actually be wet. So I'm going to go ahead and use my little wire pinchers, and I'm just going to very carefully grab it. And if you don't have wire pinchers, you can go ahead and grab a pencil and just go ahead and start wrapping. You can use your fingers, and you're just going to keep going and going, and there's no right or wrong. You can get a big loopy one, you can make a smaller one, whatever works for you. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, before we put any polka dots on, I want to go ahead and glue our bow on. And I made your bow. You can see where the back is, and I would just apply that. I'm going to put it right here, and then you're going to apply some pressure. And again, you can go ahead and use hot glue, or you can use your stapler. And then sometimes when it's drying, I like to play around with it just a little bit and pull that apart. And next thing you know, everybody's got a button. Depends, I don't know what color you got. I just picked some colors. I think they were all maybe black. And you're gonna do that. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit of fresh black paint, find this fresh spot on your plate, and we're gonna use the back of a paintbrush, and we're gonna do our dip dot 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 on the center of our sunflowers. And usually when I'm doing them, I will just kind of just space them out about like this. And then I'll do them all, and then I will look at them to see if I need to add a couple more. If you're nervous about adding too many, just put a few here and there, and then you can always go back, okay? Just remember that. Because once you have your black paint down, it is hard to get it uncovered, to clean it up, because you will have the aftermath of the black. Thinking that looks good. Okay, kiddos, that is your rustic blueprints for the month of August. I cannot believe it's August to say that, the least. And just to show you the difference, since we did do the texture, so you guys can see the difference, this is your texture. This has got your browns that we did on top of your yellows, and it looks a little more country, a little more antique-ish. And then this is your overlay of your clean, not textured look. Two completely different looks, same colors. Is that not crazy or what? Okay, kids, that is it. That is a wrap. Enjoy, have fun. If you like to see more projects like this, just let us know. And it says low battery, so that must mean it's time for me to call it quits for the day. Okay, guys, enjoy. Come see me again. Bye.